Everyone thought Mac Powell was just the quiet janitor, until the day armed men stormed the school looking for him.
Mac Powell worked as a quiet janitor at Roosevelt High, pushing his mop through the halls like any other staff member. Most people barely noticed him, assuming he was just another tired custodian trying to get through the day. No one knew he had once been a Navy SEAL who survived missions few men walked away from. He preferred the peace of his new life, far from the battlefield and the noise of war. Students mostly ignored him except for Jasmine, a kind sophomore who always greeted him. Her small gestures reminded him that kindness still existed. His wife Lorna supported his decision to live quietly, even though she knew he carried scars outsiders would never see. One afternoon he noticed a suspicious man in the hallway, dressed wrong for the environment and watching students too closely. Mac's instincts surged the same way they had in combat zones. Later he learned the man was Barney Goodwin, the brother of a dangerous arms dealer Mac had killed years earlier during a mission gone wrong. Mac hoped it was coincidence, but deep inside he knew trouble had found him again. Days later he received a threatening text promising revenge. He tried to stay calm, but he quietly prepared for the worst. One morning gunmen stormed the school, shouting orders and firing into the ceiling. Students screamed and ran as chaos erupted around them. Mac immediately assessed the situation with a tactician's eye, recognizing the attackers' formation and plan. He moved through the hallways with purpose, guiding students into safe spaces and using his knowledge of the building to stay hidden. One attacker was taken down quickly when Mac used surprise and precision to disable him. He secured the man and continued moving, determined to protect the children trapped in the school. Barney searched for him, screaming about his brother and promising vengeance. Mac stayed calm even as bullets tore through walls and lockers. He used the environment to his advantage, turning the school into a maze that confused the intruders. In the library, he confronted another attacker, disarmed him, and tied him up before moving on. When Barney threatened the cafeteria full of students, Mac cut off access and forced him to search alone. Principal Whitney kept the kids quiet while Mac worked to end the threat. Gregory, another veteran-turned-teacher, helped defend the school and stood with Mac despite the danger. When Barney finally cornered Mac, rage and grief twisted his face. Mac pleaded with him to stop before anyone died. But Barney refused and tried to shoot. Gregory struck him from behind with a fire extinguisher, saving Mac's life. Police stormed the building minutes later and secured the scene. The entire school survived because Mac acted with discipline and courage. The truth about his past came out when detectives questioned him, revealing his SEAL background and the mission tied to Barney's brother. Mac hated the attention that followed but understood why people praised him. He had protected hundreds of lives by refusing to freeze under pressure. Not long after, Barney's other brother Buck began plotting revenge. Mac faced him during a deadly confrontation in a parking garage. Buck brought armed men and believed he could overpower Mac through numbers. But Mac prepared the ground in advance, using his training to stay one step ahead. He disabled their vehicle with a controlled explosion and took Buck down during the chaos. Instead of killing him, Mac forced him to reveal information that led to dismantling their whole criminal network. Police arrived to arrest Buck and the remaining attackers. Mac cooperated fully and proved his actions prevented further violence. Over time, the school honored him and Gregory for their bravery, calling them heroes even though Mac felt uncomfortable with the word. Students saw him differently after that day, viewing him as someone strong and trustworthy. Jasmine gave him a card thanking him for saving them, and the gesture meant more than any medal. Mac returned to his work, finding comfort in the simple routines that grounded him. He stayed at Roosevelt High because he cared about the students and the quiet purpose the job gave him. Lorna stood by him through everything, reminding him that he was more than the battles he fought. As months passed, Mac found peace again, knowing he had protected people who depended on him. He prevented 2 more dangerous situations at the school just by being observant and prepared. Students grew up remembering him as the man who stayed calm when the world fell apart. Even years later, he remained ready for whatever danger resurfaced. One evening, a young man approached him in the parking lot to thank him for saving his sister. Mac realized in that moment that his impact continued long after the shooting. He understood that heroes didn't always wear uniforms or seek recognition. Sometimes they pushed mop buckets and fixed lockers. Mac accepted that he couldn't run from his past, but he could use it to protect those around him. In the quiet hallways of Roosevelt High, he found a new mission he was proud to serve. The danger never fully disappeared, but Mac faced it with steady resolve. He knew that whatever shadows came for him, he would be ready. Because protecting others was the one part of himself he had never lost.